The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
You know, I've been thinking back to that now infamous comment from the second presidential debate where Mitt Romney said he had binders full of women. I want to get more into detail about that later, and there's a lot of funny stuff going on with it, but it did make me say, let's think a little bit about what is Mitt Romney's version of women's rights. Because if we take all the individual things that Mitt Romney said in the second presidential debate, but more broadly over the last few years, it's pretty disturbing. In fact, if you were to have only Mitt Romney statements about women's rights on which to guess what year we're currently in, you wouldn't guess that we're in 2012 if you lined up Mitt Romney's comments and said, this is the political establishment's view on women, which fortunately it isn't. There is more than just Mitt Romney, but you would think it's probably somewhere in the 1950s.
Right.
So let's talk about that. Mitt Romney did say, kind of as an aside, during the second presidential debate, that everyone should have access to birth control. The problem is, when we look at what Mitt Romney has said outside of these debates, he has said, I want to defund Planned Parenthood. And he seems to forget that when he was governor here in Massachusetts, he vetoed a bill in 2005 that would have given women that were raped access to emergency contraception. He vetoed that. He seems to have forgotten that. And also, he supported an amendment this year which would have allowed businesses to opt out of the contraceptive mandate. He has said he would support a state constitutional amendment that would declare that life begins at conception, which potentially would make some kind of contraception actually illegal. So when we look at Mitt Romney's aside about, well, you know, binders full of women and everyone should have contraception, there's no evidence at all. Number one, there's no evidence that he actually wanted those binders full of women. It seems that they were forced on him because he wasn't hiring women. And number two, there's no evidence he really wants everyone to have access to contraception.
Yeah, so as usual, he's saying something that he's contradicting himself, and he's being very mysterious. We really don't know what he would do.
You know what? I think we kind of do know, though, because he went on. He opposed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. Come on. He said,
that's because he's about free enterprise.
He went to Harvard, and there was a significant portion of his graduating class that were women. And when he became governor, he just didn't know any women. He had not met any women at all that he thought were qualified and he wanted to hire, which is why they brought him binders full of women. In other words, the binders full of women were brought to him because he didn't know any women. Mitt Romney, business success, went to college. He meets so many people. No women stood out to him as qualified individuals. He was hiring mostly just men, so then they bring him the binders full of the women.
Just the fact that you need a binder full of women to try and find someone to employ is disturbing.
That's the problem. And then again, he indicated that when talking about equal pay, he was talking about an employee. She said, I can't be here until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I need to be able to get home at 5 o'clock so I can be there making dinner for my kids and being with them when they get home from school. Come on, Mitt. Women need to be home. They need to leave at 5 to make dinner. That's the argument. That's why you didn't support Lilly Ledbetter. Come on. And then even when talking about gun control in that second presidential debate, Mitt Romney redirecting from gun control to single moms. Single moms are the problem. This is a disaster, ladies and gentlemen. How can any woman hear this and cast a vote for Mitt Romney? Natan, how do they do it? Is it that they don't believe this is really Mitt Romney's position, or that they agree with Mitt Romney's position?
I think there's probably a combination of low information voters, people who don't really understand the nuances of or the obvious repercussions of the things we're talking about. But overall, I think the deal is that people just don't get that. I mean, first of all, people are against Obama, and then other people just don't get that Mitt will say anything to get elected. And this is something that is an example of that.
Disturbing.
I think there are women who, one, agree with this, two, of course, I doubt those women are single who agree with this. Women who don't hear this at all, and women who just don't understand it.
Absolutely.